Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Heart Gold with only one Sneasel was a fun solo run. Let's follow that up with a solo starter. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Pokemon Gold with a team of only one Bulbasaur. Alright, you know Bulbasaur already, poison and grass type with pretty even stats, although we're a bit better with special moves than physical moves. Our stats are pretty low overall, but there isn't one thing that we're horrible at. By level up, we get Razor Leaf and Sleep Powder, but I'm not sure I like anything else here. I guess Leech Seed can have some niche uses, but in a solo run, it's not really great. By TM, we really don't add much else. There's Mud Slap for a little bit of early type coverage, but really, we're stuck with awful type coverage no matter what. This won't be easy. Like always, I'm writing the script as I go through the challenge, so all this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. Considering grass types already have a really hard time in Johto just thanks to the trainers you have to fight, I think this is going to be a really hard one. I might need to be level 85 just to beat Lance. Nearly his whole team resists us. Also, this was a Patreon poll challenge. This challenge won by only one vote. It was crazy close between it and second place. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Bulbasaur. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Chikorita with Bulbasaur so that we can do the whole run with it. I picked to replace Chikorita so that our rival would have Typhlosion, probably the hardest for us to fight. I name him Chikorita, because that's hilarious. So the early game travel is obviously pretty easy since it's balanced for a starter, but we have that flying gym coming up. Obviously, we are weak to flying types, so that might be a real problem. Then after that is the bug gym, where Fury Cutter will mess us up. It's only going to be neutral against us because we're part poison type, but it's still just such a dangerous move, and our grass moves are going to be totally useless against Scyther. Really, this whole first chunk of the game is probably going to be a disaster, but at least we get a free Miracle Seed on our way to the bug gym. Let's clear out every single trainer we can on our way. Wow, so the flying gym ended up being crazy easy, thanks to an awesome sleep powder on Pidgeotto, so it went great. That nets us the TM for Mud Slap, and we're absolutely going to need this later on in the run for fighting ghosts. I'll hold off on replacing Leech Seed until I beat the bug gym, though. I figure I might need it for that. Hey, the bug gym actually ended up being a really easy first try. Obviously the Metapod and Kakuna were nothing, but we just put Scyther to sleep instantly, Leech Seeded, and then tackled till he went down. It wasn't even that close. Now as nice as Leech Seed has been, I think I need to ditch it for Mud Slap. We need it soon anyway. Brute forcing our rival's Ghastly with Razor Leaf sounds like a bad idea. Okay, so first at the rival fight is Ghastly, so we just use Mud Slap until he goes down. All he did was miss Hypnosis. Quilava was next, and it's more dangerous. We started Mud Slapping early, and although it helped a bit, we still got hit by a Smoke Screen and an Ember to lose some accuracy and health. We took him out after a while, but Mud Slap really wasn't doing much damage. Last is Zubat, and we had an awful time keeping him asleep, and we missed a few times, but thankfully, his bites didn't hurt us too much, so it was still a first try. Alright, with that done, we have the normal gym and the ghost gym coming up. I'm actually not worried about the normal gym since we have Sleep Powder to break the rollout, but the ghost gym has me worried. Grass moves aren't gonna work, we just need to use Mud Slap, and we only have 10 uses of it. I might actually have to just grind until I'm able to take them out easily, I'm not really sure. Maybe creative use of Sleep Powder could help us, but it's hard to say. Anytime we spend not one-shotting them is time that they can spend cursing us and ruining the entire fight. I might have to get some pretty lucky Sleep Powders if I want to win this one before a massive grind, but I guess I'll have to find out. Okay, first is the normal gym. Clefairy was of course easy, although it did metronome a Fury Swipes to get some damage in. Miltank was more of a problem though. Sleep Powder didn't work right away, so we took some damage, but it didn't take long before we put her to sleep. I used Mud Slap for safety, then just Razor Leaf to do pretty good damage. Thanks to a crit, it didn't even take us all that long. I figure that the Ghost Gym is going to be a brick wall for a while, though. Okay, next is the Ghost Gym, though, and although I was doing more damage than I expected with Mud Slap, the first Haunter that came out was faster than us and used Curse, so we're doomed. You know, I think that we could actually win if Curse didn't hit. I'm starting to think that Sleep Powder and Mud Slap might work pretty well once we're faster than them. I'm gonna go clear at the lighthouse and then come back. Alright, so that got us 7 levels, and more importantly, it got us growth. It may only be one stage of special attack in this game, but I figure it was worth replacing Mudslap. If I can keep Ghastly asleep, then we don't get cursed. But now the problem is with 6 growths, we sweep our way to Gengar just for it to end up being faster than us, and we got hit by Hypnosis and then 2-shot with Dream Eater. Alright, I need to keep trying until I can get 3 growths, and Hypnosis needs to miss. That shouldn't take too long. Alright, only 3 tries later, and although we did get hit by Curse when fighting Ghastly, you don't take Curse damage on turns where you score a knockout in this game. Between that and the Gengar only using Mean Look, we swept his whole team with Razor Leaf without even taking the Curse damage. Okay, with that done, we have the Fighting Gym, Steel Gym, and Ice Gym. I actually feel pretty great about these gyms right now that we have growth. The fighting one should be easy since his only kind of annoying member of his team is a water type, and I'm expecting to one-shot him. The whole ice team is pretty bad against us too. You think ice would be a problem, but he's dual typed into stuff like water and ground, so I'm really not that worried. The steel gym might be the hardest, but if we can just put the first Magnemite to sleep and get maybe 3 growths in, then I think we could sweep them. Let's hope we do, because Thunderwave or Iron Tail would easily ruin the fight. So things aren't quite as simple as I was hoping in the fighting gym, just thanks to Primeape being faster than us. But we still hardly took any damage before we got a few growths in and swept his team. I figure that we aren't ready for the steel gym yet though. Let's go fight my way to the ice gym first. Yeah, so the ice gym was incredibly easy, as I expected. Piloswine wasn't a one-shot, but we never had to use growth, so you know it was going to be an easy fight. I just hope that this has us prepared for the Steel Gym. We're level 45 now, so I figure that we've got to be faster than the Magnemites. Last for these gyms is the Steel Gym, so I put my Magnemite to sleep, use 3 growths, then sweep her whole team. That's awesome, that went so well. Let's just finish off our rival at the Pokemon Tower, then we can get to the Dragon Gym that I think will be a lot harder. So first at the rival fight is Golbat, so I just went straight for Headbutt. We got confused off a Confuse Ray, but we got the knockout on the second round. Quilava was next though, so I had to put it to sleep and use a couple of growths just to be ready for the rest of the fight. Then I switched to Headbutts. It did great, although we did get hit by a big Fire Wheel before we knocked him out. Magnemite was a one-shot with Razor Leaf, and so was the Haunter right after. Last is Sneasel, and we get crit by a quick attack, but it didn't do much, so we just took him out. Alright, so we're on the path to the Dragon Gym now, and I figure that Growth is our only hope. She's got 3 Dragonairs that resist grass and love using Thunder Wave, then a Kingdra at the end. I figure that will be fine as long as we can get 3 or 4 growths in, maybe then we can sweep it. I have a Miracle Seed, so between that and a handful of growths, we can do enough damage to win. Or at least I hope so. Alright, so this took 3 tries just because the first time I tried 3 growths and it wasn't enough, and the second time they woke up too fast. But on this third try we got 4 growths in and swept most of them. The last Dragonair didn't get one shot, but he also didn't hit Thunder Wave, so it went fine. Let's go finish off our rival and then get to the Elite Four. So thankfully, he didn't open with Golbat this time. He made the terrible decision of opening with Sneasel. Well, it really can't do anything to us, so I just built up 6 growths and then swept most of his team. Typhlosion did smoke screen us, so we missed and got paralyzed against Magneton, but we were still nowhere close to losing this fight. Now that we're the Elite Four, let's take a look at our stats. I mean, they're pretty low overall, but that's to be expected when you're this low of a level. I really doubt that I can beat it, even if I use Sleep Powder and Growth until I level up more, but I can at least try. Really, I figure that most of the Elite Four is going to be pretty tough, and the Pokemon Champion himself is going to require that we get to a pretty high level. It's not going to be easy. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Psychic Trainer Will. Right away we put Xatu to sleep and get 4 growths in before it woke up and hit Psychic for more than half of our health and damage. We one-shot it with a critical Razor Leaf, but next is Jinx and is actually faster than us, so we get taken out quickly. Okay, well, I don't think there's any way that we can win this fight until we're faster than his whole team, so I'm gonna go get a few levels and then try again. So I try more at level 60. I got my 4 growths in against Xatu, but then we missed a Razor Leaf and he stayed asleep, so I guess I could have gotten 5 growths. Either way, we take him down. Jinx is now slower than us and a one-shot, but the problem is the next Xatu. He survives with a sliver, confuses us, uses a max potion, and then we start hitting ourselves. Because of that, he can hit Psychic and we get hurt a lot. I'm really wishing that I had that extra growth now. Eventually, we take him down, but second from last is Executor, and I knew that we wouldn't be able to one-shot him, so I tried to put him to sleep just for Sleep Powder to miss, and him to finish us off. Okay, I'm gonna get 6 growths in at the start. This has to be a win. Alright, it took a few tries not to just get confused and wrecked with Psychic, but on the first try where I actually got all 6 growths in, we sweep his team. I figure getting 6 growths in at the start and then sweeping with Razor Leaf is how we're gonna have to do every major fight from now on. Second is Poison Trainer Koga. Now, I knew this one would be hard, but this was terrifying. First is Ariados, so I put it to sleep and get my 6 growths in, as it was only using Double Team when it woke up. We hit a Razor Leaf at the end, but it didn't even faint, so I had to hit it again. Okay, if that's not a one-shot, then a bunch of these matchups aren't gonna be one-shots. Venomoth was next, and we only took out half of his health, but thankfully he just missed Supersonic, so we hit him again to take him out. Next is Crobat, and I had to put him to sleep as he was using Double Team, and he just kept using items to wake up. Razor Leaves were so unreliable that I had to start headbutting. Thanks to his wing attack, we were in red health when he fainted. Fortress scattered spikes and wasted time, nothing too dangerous before we took him out. And last is Muck, who thankfully was a one-shot with a critical Razor Leaf, although I doubt I needed the crit. I hate how close that was. That has me worried. Third is Fighting Trainer Bruno. Hitmontop at the start couldn't do anything at all to us, so I really easily got my 6 growths in and then swept his whole team. We were in no danger at all. I could see Karen being hard though. She got Sand Attack right at the start, so I don't think I can get away with building up all 6 growths against Umbreon alone. Fourth is Dark Trainer Karen. So for 6 tries in a row, I failed this fight right at the start, thanks not to Sand Attack, but the fact that Umbreon loves to confuse ray us, we hit ourselves a ton, and we get chipped away at with Feint Attack, although we did lose a couple of runs to Sand Attack. The problem is, even once we get an awesome run where we get all 6 growths in and take him out, Houndoom is next and he's faster and one-shots us every time with Flamethrower. Well, we obviously don't have a way around a 100 accuracy move that one-shots us, so let's get a few levels. Can't be that much slower than him. So we got up to level 65, and after a few tries where Sand Attack and Confusion ruined us, we got this pretty easy one where we were faster than Houndoom, so we just swept the rest of her team. I figure that Vileplume probably wouldn't have been a one-shot without that crit, though, so if we were a little less lucky, then it might have messed us up. It's time for the really hard fight, though. Finally, Pokemon Champion Lance. Right away, we have a pretty easy time getting our 6 growths against Water Onix, since he wasted time with Rain Dance. He did wake up and hit a Hyper Beam right at the end, but it didn't do crazy damage, so we took him out fine. The problem is, next is Dragonite, and this is one of his 4 Pokemon that double resist Grass. We didn't do very much damage at all, then he paralyzed us and took us out pretty fast. Maybe if I could get strong enough for a 2-shot, then I could put him to sleep and finish him off, but having to do that on 4 different Pokemon plus likely being slower than Aerodactyl is probably going to cause us issues. We might need to be a much higher level before I can win this one. Okay, so I hit level 70 and tried once more. On this try, Water Onix was super easy, never hitting us once as we take him out. The first Dragonite goes well too, not waking up so we got our 3-shot, although 3 shots is still dangerous. Aerodactyl's faster than us and hit a huge wing attack, but at least we got a 1-shot. After that is Charizard, and we're actually faster, but our luck ran out when he hit us with Flamethrower before we could take him out, leaving us with only 9 health by the time we finished him off. The second from last Dragonite was a weird one. We put him to sleep and he instantly woke himself up with a full restore right before we hit Razor Leaf. So we put him to sleep again and hit a Razor Leaf just for him to use a full heal to wake up again. That's fine, 1 more Razor Leaf knocked him out, so he wasted all of his items. Last is his final Dragonite, so we put him to sleep and he actually stays asleep for all 3 hits. We just won at level 70. With that victory, we get into the Hall of Fame and win the run, but you know it's not over yet. Gen 2 has all of Kanto in the post-game, including 8 gym battles and a secret final boss fight with Red. 7 of those 8 gym battles are super easy thanks to them being weaker than the Elite Four, so we're gonna skip ahead to the next real challenge, Blue. As nice as the Miracle Seed is for a little bit of extra damage, I'm taking the leftovers for sure. The more time we waste with our opponent asleep, the more health we're gonna get back. That might be what saves us against red and blue, if I can even beat them. Okay, first try at blue starts awesome with Pidgeot staying asleep for 5 turns, so I got a lot of growths in, but we take a wing attack before we can take him down. Second is Alakazam though, who's faster and hits a huge Psychic before we one-shot him. Kinda thought I might survive, but Arcanine is next, and obviously he's faster than us and took us out with Flamethrower. Okay, well we only need to be faster than one of those two. I think we can win this fight. Let's level until I'm a little bit faster. So I try more at level 80. Right away, Pidgeot is really easy. All he does is Mirror Move a Growth. Alakazam is still faster, but this time he used Reflect instead of Fighting, so he was a one-shot. Now, Arcanine wasn't a one-shot and still hit us, but we survived and easily finished him off. Water Onix was a one-shot. I put Executor to sleep, but he ended up being a one-shot too, so I guess I really didn't need to. And then last is Rhydon, who's obviously a one-shot. I mean, that went great, but how's Red gonna go? Well, after losing 7 tries in a row, thanks to getting paralyzed off Thunder, of all things, during the growth build-up phase, we had this run where we simply didn't get paralyzed. We got hit by Thunder a bit, but it hardly hurts, and we're healing from leftovers, so unless it paralyzes us, Thunder doesn't really matter. Plus, he uses Charm sometimes, and we don't really care about our attack stat in this fight. Problem is, second is Espeon, and he outspeeds us and one-shots us from nearly full health. Look, I kinda figured that would happen. Let's get all the way up to level 90 and then keep trying. That's the lowest level I could possibly see us winning. Alright, next try, level 90. Pikachu goes the same as always, just wasting full restores to remove our sleep until eventually we get all of our growths in and take him out with full health. Espeon is still faster than us, but he just uses Reflect, so we get the one-shot. We got a crit, but I'm not sure if it was required or not. Next is Snorlax. I put him to sleep right away, knowing that we wouldn't get a one-shot. We actually ended up critting though, so he did go down in one hit. Next is Venusaur, so I put it to sleep and started hitting weak Razor Leaves. I tried Headbutt once the Reflect wore off, but it was doing almost nothing thanks to the charms at the start. He ended up waking up to start Sunny Day, and even hit us with Solar Beam, but obviously did almost nothing, so we had no problem at all taking him out. I just used Headbutts near the end to try and take him out slower so that Sunny Day wouldn't still be active as Charizard comes out. Speaking of, it's Charizard. He's faster than us and takes out most of our health with one Flamethrower, but we put him to sleep. Our first Razor Leaf crit for great damage, and I was worried the second one might not be enough for a knockout, but it actually was. Man, if he woke up, we'd have lost for sure. We also would have lost if that Sunny Day was still going. Last is Blastoise, but of course it's just a one-shot. What a great ending. Yet again, Bulbasaur gets us a really fun solo run. I really hope that you guys liked that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next week on Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon X with only one Drowsy, my favorite Pokemon. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments in the Challenge Quest section of my Discord channel and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time? Okay, so the big exciting thing for this week is that I finally got around to updating my Adobe software. Man, okay, so I update it like once every year or two, because I'll always have this thing where like I'll be good about letting it update all the time for a little while, and then inevitably it'll have some really bad updates that mess up some files, and I just say, yeah, I'm not putting up with this, and I revert back to an old version, and then I don't update for like a year or two. Nowadays with Adobe stuff, you know, my editing software, my audio software, all of that, nowadays with this software, they release like a whole new standalone version every year, and I was still using the 2024 version for Premiere, which is my video editing software, and I was using the 2023 version for Audition, which is my like voiceover audio recording, audio editing software. And I finally decided, okay, I'll get around to getting the new versions, the 2025 versions. The nice thing is, at least with like modern versions of the Adobe Cloud software, which is like their program for downloading all the software, it lets you keep your old installs, which I keep all of my old installs of Adobe stuff, because you never know when you're gonna update something, and then it breaks, because it's Adobe and they break stuff all the time, even though they charge you an arm and a leg. I pay almost 100 Canadian dollars every month for their stupid creative suite. Oh, it's brutal, man. It is brutal. So I don't want them to break stuff, so I always keep the old stuff, you know. I also make backup of all of my project files that I edit, so that I have versions that run specifically on different versions of Premiere in case I need to go back to an old one. Well, I finally updated the 2025 versions of Adobe Audition and Adobe Premiere. The Adobe Audition one looks borderline identical. I don't even know if, I mean, I'm sure they've changed something. I don't know what they've changed. The only thing I noticed, because I always have it like keep my settings when it moves over, the only thing it didn't keep is when I started this voiceover, it was recording only to the left audio track. Look, I record these voiceovers in mono. Like, obviously I record these in mono, so I had to just, like, tell it, like, just copy both tracks to the same thing. I don't know why that's the one setting it didn't remember, but, like, that's something very easy to fix in editing, so, like, obviously no problem fixing that. But, you know, you can just set it so that, like, you're on a mono microphone, you can just set it to be on both ears, and then it's equal and everything, and there you go. You don't need to mess with anything. So that's what I do. Now, I haven't used Premiere yet, the 2025 Premiere. They clearly changed how text on screen works a little bit, which they changed it in the 2024 one as well. They changed that very often, by the way. I don't know why they don't just still use the old system from before the 2024 version, because that text system worked fantastic, but I guess we're just not going back to that for some reason. I don't know, man. Adobe's really frustrating. They do update after update after update, and like some of them are important for performance, but then a lot of it is just screaming at you with every update saying, hey, look, you can make AI do this thing for you now. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in generative, what is it? You can like take a picture now in Photoshop and you can like tell it like auto-generate what would be outside of this picture, and it's just like AI picture stuff. Or you can tell it like extend the end of this shot, and it will have like AI try to extend the end of a shot so you have a few more seconds. I can understand that being very useful in like maybe animated stuff, I don't know, for just touching things up and editing a little bit here or there. I have no use for any of this. None of this is useful to me, nor am I interested in any of it for what I do. So it's really annoying when they're constantly trying to cram it down my throat, and they're like making new buttons for the AI thing, and it has like glowing motion graphics just to the button and everything to try and dry your eyes to it that nothing else has. And it's like, man, they're really trying to force feed this AI to everyone. It's really brutal, man. Like in Photoshop, I get it. It has some uses in Photoshop. Like, okay, you know how like YouTubers always crop things out for a thumbnail, right? Like there's a guy in a video game, they'll crop out the background and they'll have just like the guy with a transparent background on the thumbnail, right? All the time. That's a thing you do in Photoshop all the time. It used to be really, really annoying back in the day. Over the years, the tools have gotten better for doing it better. And it's just through like algorithms. It's just through like being able to paint with a wide brush instead of going pixel by pixel. And the wide brush has a better job of detecting where you do and don't want to cut, and you can touch it up from there. I totally understand that AI is really good for automating that process. It has a really easy time detecting where the borders are of what you want to crop and cropping that. One day, I might actually use it for that. I don't know, I haven't had to do that in forever, but if it still does a good job at it, maybe I'll use it for that. And that's literally the only thing I can think of in which that would be a useful tool in my toolkit. Oh man, I'm just hoping it runs better, because that's my big hope with every Premiere update. It's just that it runs better, because if you use an old version of Premiere from years ago and then use one now, the current one renders a million times faster than the old ones. It's faster at a lot of things. So like, I want to update because it usually runs faster on the new ones, but you never know for sure. Ugh, no, I'm rambling too much. Nobody cares about this. It was a short video anyway. No one wants half the video to be the outro. It's just me lamenting using Adobe software. Maybe one day I'll switch to DaVinci Resolve, but I don't want to learn a new editing software. I've been using this one since I was like 14. I'm 32. I've been editing on this software for more than half my life. I think I'm just sticking to it. All right. I'm going to wrap up this voiceover and then take it into Premiere, and we're gonna do some editing. And if you see any really weird graphical issues or anything like that, especially with the text in the next, this challenge or some of the close by ones, Sorry, I updated the software, I've made a new project file and imported all the old stuff. Some things might get a little messed up and I might not notice all of it. We'll see what happens. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.